Welcome to the Geek Homeworld podcast. I am your host, Ed, aka The Savage Tech Man. We talk film, TV, and tech, all from a geek perspective. You can find us on X, Instagram, Facebook, and you can subscribe and follow on YouTube at Geek Homeworld. Don't forget to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Be a part of the Geek Homeworld. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode here of the Geek Homeworld podcast. I am your host, Ed Susevich here, and this is the Geek Homeworld. I want to say sorry, I'm just running a little bit behind tonight. I wasn't sure if I was I had to head out of town for an early Mother's Day visit. And so we were able to get back in time, and I was like, you know what? I'm loving X-Men 97, and I got to talk about it. Just a few programming notes. Digital Caveman will not be here because of the Mother's Day holiday. He's out visiting family and such. So wish him and his family well, of course, and yours as well. All the mothers out there, and as Samuel L. Jackson would say, all the mothers out there. Happy Mother's Day. And love Sam. Anyway, so that's what's going on, and we're going to talk about a couple things here just to outline the episode. We are talking about it's a great time, I tell you. Is really sorry as the box office is, and it seems like most of Hollywood is not working, and it's kind of perilous times in the industry. There's still some really good films out there, and there's still good content on streaming services as well. And so we're talking about X-Men 97. Tolerance is, what is it? Tolerance is Extinction. Tolerance is Extinction Part 2. And it's essentially episode 9 of this new season, first season of X-Men 97, which has exceeded every kind of expectation. And being a lifelong geek and comic fan, this is possibly the best X-Men I've ever seen. And the storylines they're bringing in 30-minute episodes to the small screen, to the streaming, is incredible. And it's each week they continue to blow my mind. So I couldn't be happier for that. So we're going to be talking about part 2. We're going to be breaking down the episode and talking about what I loved, and it's not much I disagree with this series about. They are just like knocking it out of the park. And the other thing we're talking about is one of the best films, definitely a fantastic screenplay, probably one of the best screenplays I've come across, and just a great movie. It had the potential to not be good. It's kicking off another trilogy, and if the box office is any reflection, even if the box office isn't a reflection of it in these kind of distressed times in Hollywood, I'd say it's a fantastic film, and I highly recommend Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. This was an incredible film. We're going to talk about that too, so we're going to break it down. There will be spoilers because I don't know how to keep my mouth shut, and I'm here by myself, so nobody to rein me in. So play along with me here, if you will. And if you haven't seen the latest episode of X-Men or any of the season, I don't know what's wrong with you, but you need to be watching it. But if you're worried about spoilers, then I would check this out later after you've watched it. And but definitely promise that you'll come back and check us out, what we have to say about it. And also Kingdom of the Planet of Apes. If you have not seen it, I plan to see it again. I really want to see it again. And I saw it in IMAX, and I was quite impressed. The sound design, fantastic. There's a lot of things. The effects, incredible. So I was blown away. I wasn't expecting to be blown away by it, but you need to get out there and see Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes and support this film so we can get a really solid trilogy. And so we'll see. But anyway, so that's what we're doing. We got to rock some of my merch here. It's not available for purchase yet. This is the first prototype shirt, but Digital Caveman had this done for my birthday at Geek Homeworld. It's our new logo there for the podcast. And there we are on youtube.com at Geek Homeworld 4248. And when I get 100 subs, it won't say 4248. It'll say youtube.com at Geek Homeworld. So I'm my own billboard there. So anyway, so check us out. We got a lot going on, and like I said, if you can't join us here live in the live stream here, then you'll hear this all. You're gonna hear this all on audio wherever you get your audio podcasts, wherever you download them, iTunes, Spotify, wherever else. That's where we're at. Pocket Cast is my favorite podcasting app that I like to listen to a lot of my podcasts, since Google podcast is sadly no more. But anyway, so we talk film, TV, and tech here, and so we're talking some film and some TV. And let's see what I'm rocking my Savannah Ghost Pirates cup. It's a few years old. The hunt begins. We're rocking some unsweet tea here. Homemade. Well, I made it in the home, so I don't know. Does that make it homemade? I don't know. So, anyway, we got a lot to talk about, so let's go. Let's get this on. So I'm ready to talk. So anyway, Planet of the Apes #2. We got to talk X-Men. So let's talk X-Men. And I know they're going back and forth online whether Bo DeMaio should get his job back, or whether Marvel's even considering that. No one's saying why he was let go. There's tons of speculation. I don't know. And as long as he didn't do something really heinous, I don't care, because this level of writing that he has done with his writing team and some of these episodes by himself, I tell you what, if I were in charge of Marvel, Monday morning, I'd be calling Bo DeMaio if I hadn't called him and say, hey, we kind of screwed up here. I need to hire you back. Oh, and I want you to write the next X-Men movie, and be in charge of us helping develop the storylines for the live action X-Men. Because what's going on in this cartoon, even though I did see the report that preliminary, the numbers are not there for this series, which blows my mind. And there's probably some idiots out there. Yeah, I said it. That sometimes you're right on the whole woke thing. I'm not big for woke when it doesn't service the actual storyline. I'm all about the storyline and what makes sense within the established parameters of a story or a genre of film. I'm all for diversity casting and all and stuff like that. It's not that's never been an issue. That means nothing what somebody looks like, or actor that portrays somebody that's a different race or color or sexual preference. I don't care about any of that. I really don't. It comes down to the storyline and the characters. Are you servicing the characters right? Are their characters true to the core of who those characters are? And yes, characters do evolve. And yes, other actors can play characters and they can change them. But just as long as you don't fundamentally change what that character is as their makeup, and I don't mean like physical makeup, I mean like what's them, their ambitions, and all that good stuff. So there's people out there that are hating on X-Men in '97, which I can't imagine. You just need to sit down and watch any of these episodes. But so far, all 9 of these 10 of the first season, and you're going to be blown away, especially if you love the comics. You're especially going to appreciate how true to the comics these storylines coming out of X-Men '97 are. And I tell you, some storylines, we're on the road to Onslaught, and I never thought I'd see that. I don't know if we'll ever see it in live action, but I tell you what, for Onslaught, like, I still have the comics here. I've got them here in my man cave here in the studio. I've got those comics. I had the original ones. I was hardcore in the comics in the '90s, so that was my bread and butter. And for me, X-Men the animated series has been, even when we got into 2000 and beyond with the X-Men Fox films, which all in all I did enjoy. There's a few duds in there, but I still like, even the bad ones are good. But my definitive X-Men were formed in the '90s. So the time I was, I would have been in my 20s, I guess, early to mid or something 20s. So those were just golden times for comics, and they were like the last, maybe the 2000s, early 2000s were maybe the last breath of really good comic storylines. But for me, the 90s were like the bread and butter. They're what the 80s music means to me is what the 90s comics meant to me. Caveman is that way, a digital caveman with the 90s for his comics, but he really appreciates a lot of the 80s comics. And he was into it a little bit more than I was. So that being said, you know, X-Men 97, Bo DeMaya, um, the fact that he wrote so far probably the best X-Men anything in any format, other than the comics. The fact that he wrote Remember It with the death of Gambit, that whole episode 5 is going to probably be the best of this series. But they have come damn close with Tolerance's Extinction parts 1 and 2 so far, and part 3. I mean, basically, I have Fatal Attractions. I have the comics, and what they did in this episode and what was done to Wolverine was jumped right off the panels of the comics, and you can't ask for anything more. In the days that Disney can't seem to get a hit to save their lives in any franchise that they're screwing up, which they haven't got to X-Men yet, but Indiana Jones, the last one, was a dud. We know about The Last Jedi and all that, and some of the Disney Pluses were hit and miss for me. I mean, there's a few I really like, but Marvel has gone from Infinity War down to almost being not relevant at all to a whole generation. You're losing people, and years ago they should have course corrected on this. And I trust Kevin Feige is going to right the ship. I've always said that. I will be there to watch the return of Marvel. I've been here through the ugliness. I was there before in the beginning, and I plan to be there because I'm a true fan. I don't just, jump on it's popular to hate certain characters and certain actors. I don't usually blame actors for roles that they play unless they just gave it piss poor performance. You can tell when an actor's really into a role that they're doing, or if they're just trying to pay the bills. And even ones where they're trying to pay the bills, when they really show up and show out, that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for the passion of these actors in their characters, in their story arcs, and developing those characters, making us like those characters, even if they're someone like Thanos that we're not supposed to like. They made us kind of like and almost sympathize. Where you saw the thing with Magneto is right that we're seeing in X-Men 97 and in the comics, and Hawkeye. He's in a restroom somewhere, and somebody wrote on the urinal that says Thanos was right, and that's a play off that Magneto was right. And we see in this episode 9 of Tolerance's Extinction Part 2, that the way Xavier has been dealing with things, yes, the peaceful coexistence of humans and mutants, that is the way to go. But the way Magneto goes about it is by all means, any means necessary. And so he's tried to walk the good side of when Xavier wasn't there. He tried to, follow Charles's path for once, like Charles has always implored him to do. And humans have showed their ugly dark side and their prejudice towards mutants. And Magneto he let loose. And I tell you what, you could not have planned this better. We ended up with a G-force solar storm last night. Would be Friday night. When I'm recording this, it's right now it's about roughly 10 p.m. On Saturday, May 11th, 2024. And last night, Friday, May 10th, where I used to live in Savannah, all the way down there, even, and I think parts of southern Georgia, but over the majority of the U.S., depending where you were better than some places. But here in Augusta, you could see the Aurora Borealis or the Northern Lights. They've never, I don't think, come this far down and been as dynamic as they were. But in Evans, Thomas, is it Thomasville? Thomas. It's just right down the road from us. A lot of places around here, Grovetown, of course, Augusta. we've had some really good sites. I didn't see any particularly in my particular neighborhood. We've got a little too much light pollution out there. You have to kind of be in an area where there was not as much light, in the area to get the quiet, the cool, image of the different beautiful colors in the sky there. And if I had some pictures, I've shared some on my Facebook page and all that. Maybe I'll share them here, put together a video or something of that when I get a chance. But it was really cool. And everybody who watched Tolerance's Extinction Part 2 of X-Men 97, the latest episode, saw, here's spoilers. So if you haven't seen it, turn away. But spoilers, Magneto basically says enough, and he lets loose, or at least he did last week on part 1. He let loose an electromagnetic pulse to basically fried all the Prime Sentinels on the globe, but it was a worldwide EMP. So, and the Earth, when we get to episode 2, has got less than 12 hours before the magnetic field breaks down, and so basically Professor Xavier takes his X-Men to go confront Magneto, and he's hoping to hijack Magneto's power, which he tries to do. Magneto, Logan's not having any of this foolishness. He, man, they showed the claws go in. They showed the blood on the claws. He was trying to take out Magneto because Magneto had taken his, he was fighting with Wolverine, and Xavier was trying to not wipe his mind, which we know that leads to Onslaught. But Xavier was just trying to hijack his powers and restore the Earth's magnetic field, because he tried reasoning with Magneto, and that did not work like it usually does. And that everybody crossed a line that you never thought they'd cross. And because at any time Magneto could have just ripped that adamantium out, and he actually did it in this episode to Wolverine, straight out of the comics, out of the Fatal Attractions storyline. Now, in the comics, Fatal Attraction leads to Magneto, Xavier wiping Magneto's mind, and when he does that, with a lot of the negativity that's kind of that Xavier keeps at bay in his psyche, some of that evil and malevolence that Magneto has always felt, the way, standing up for mutants and all that. And in this episode, he calls Charles a traitor to his own kind of mutants. But anyway, part of that negativity or whatever, without Charles realizing, at least in the comics, seeps into his psyche, and it creates this being that's basically a marriage of Xavier with all his powers and Magneto with all his magnetic powers, and the negativity of them too, and it creates this entity called Onslaught. And then Onslaught starts as like in Xavier's head, but then he starts to manifest, and this brings in the Fantastic Four. It brings in all the Marvel heroes, X-Men, Avengers, which you've already kind of seen Captain America on this series. It's so great. And it brings them all together, and the Hulk, everybody, Thor, everybody, Iron Man, everybody. And they're trying to fight Onslaught, who gets more and more powerful. He gets Nate Gray from the Age of Apocalypse, which we haven't seen that yet. We have seen a version of that on the animated series, but I'm not sure how they're going to handle it, because we have Nate Gray, which is a sinister clone of Cable. It gets very difficult here if you don't know the comics, trying to follow the logic of this all. But Xavier has so anyway, yeah, he takes Nate Gray, Onslaught does, and basically he uses Franklin Richards' reality warping powers, and he kind of kidnaps him, and eventually he forms a body, and then all of the non-mutants have to combat him, fight Onslaught, and it's just like they're leveling New York City. It's just crazy what's going on in the comics there, and this is the whole Onslaught story. But I've got the whole the collection of the comics of it. But I'm telling you, this thing is hardcore where they're going. And for Bo DeMaio, Um, Dude, they need to put you in charge. Marvel needs to put you in charge of X-Men when they brought to the theater screens to the big screen, because you're nailing this, man. You wrote that Remember It episode 5 that is probably going to go down as one of the greatest adaptations of X-Men comics in history in any medium. Um, Easily, this series is better than anything we've seen, and I'm putting it up there with Logan. I'm putting it up there with some of the great adaptations we've seen from Fox. Like I said, some of those are duds and they're mixed up with different directors, and it just some of it doesn't work. But what they're doing in this series, X-Men '97, has exceeded my expectations. And I thought, we can get a killer episode here or there. They are just like knocking it out of the park every week, and it's become, man, I want to get up at 3 in the morning on Wednesday mornings, even though I got school coming. I've been trying to get up and watch these things live, and then sometimes I'll forget, but I can't get to it till Wednesday afternoon after school, but after college. But man, I mean, it just gets me fired up, man, because they are just doing it. They are killing it in these storylines. So, like I said, if you had not seen X-Men '97, if you've not seen any episodes, if you've not seen it at least through episode 9, which is Tolerance's Extinction, part two of a 3-part arc here, then come back later, watch this video after you've seen it. I don't want to spoil anything. So, and we're going to be talking Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes on this episode. So stay tuned for that. But let's get through this. Let's go. Let's get this on. Let's do this. And I like to start with just a summary of the episode. So we're in part 2 of Tolerance's Extinction. And where's part 2? Okay, part 2. This is the synopsis of the episode. Xavier is met with some distrust, but the X-Men focus on stopping Bastion and convincing Magneto to reverse his blackout. That's his electromagnetic pulse that he let loose on the Earth, which coincides in real life with the G4 solar storm we had with all the northern lights and everything. So it's like science imitating art. It's awesome. Anyway, Magneto reestablishes his mutant haven on asteroid M. In the comics, it's called Avalon. And choosing to leave Earth without power, and rejects Xavier's dream of mutant-human coexistence. He invites the X-Men to join him, which Rogue and Roberto Sunspot do. The rest of the X-Men return to their former base on Mirror Island, where they have the Shi'ar technology after the Xavier Institute once again was destroyed. Whoever's in, if Allstate is insuring or Progressive or whatever, I don't know who at this point would anything to do with the X-Men, like all their X-planes they keep destroying. I don't know who would give them insurance at this point, because they are a bad risk. I'll tell you what, they're kind of like Picard blowing up the Enterprise as many times as he did. Blow up the damn ship. No. Anyway, the rest of the X-Men return to their former base on Mirror Island to regroup before splitting into 2 teams. Cyclops' blue team, straight out of the comics, I love it, goes to Asteroid M, or Avalon, to confront Magneto, while Storm, who's back with her badass original costume, just being the Omega level badass that she is. And you want to talk about women in film and television and roles and in literature and comics being well written. Aurora Monroe, aka Storm, she's always been a badass. Jean Grey, always been a badass. Rogue is a badass. And we didn't get the Rogue that we got in the X-Men live action films. We got the Rogue straight out of the comics, and her arc is very interesting since she lost Remy, and it's crazy. So anyway, Cyclops' blue team goes to Asteroid M to confront Magneto, while Storm and Jean's gold team heads to Bastion's hideout in the Galapagos Islands. I'm glad they showed it on the show, because I had to look it up. I was like, where's the Galapagos? I've heard of this. Beast and Forge create a collar that can block Bastion's technopathy. Now, so Bastion basically, Master Mold, kind of, what do you call it? Kind of like Terminator Liquid Metal kind of thing, somehow got into his dad's. Literally, they showed in X-Men 97 when they're telling you how Bastion came to be. Bastion could always, okay, well, I got to tell you how he was born. So, Master Mold from the future, who created the Sentinels and all that, is like a super Sentinel from the future. He basically was able to, what would you call that? Morph's a bad word here. Not a bad word, but you know what I mean. He kind of, it's almost like this liquid metal kind of thing. And somehow his essence got into his father. And so Bastion's, whose real name is Sebastian. And so I guess they got Bastion from that. So they had a kid, and the kid was Sebastian. And so Sebastian, who was later calls himself Bastion, he had what they call technopathy, and it basically he could talk to machines. Okay, so that's what they're talking about. Technopathy is talking to machines. He could hear machines, like, and they showed him kind of like a Man of Steel moment in one of those episodes they showed about Bastion. So growing up, he could hear, like, the transformer outside on the telephone pole. He could hear machinery, and he can, like, control and kind of speak to it. That's his mutant ability. And so he grew up with his head full of that kind of noise. And so he basically infects. In the comics, you have Operation Zero Tolerance, which they touched on here in X-Men, but they 97, but they kind of changed a little bit. And so to bring you up to speed, if you're not up to speed, so Bastion, basically using his technopathy, it's like telepathy, but techno, speaking of electronics and devices like that, he basically convinces humans, doesn't kidnap them and experiment. Well, he does probably some of that. But he convinces people that they should merge with this technology, and essentially they become sleeper agents. And then they forget, their minds are kind of wiped, so they don't remember that they were. And they are basically a future version that's even up the not primordial, that's the wrong word. They are more advanced humanoids. They're kind of like the Borg, if you want to think of it that way, that, human and robot kind of, meshing there, kind of like a infiltrator Terminator in a way. And so anyway, and they can go toe to toe with mutants and the X-Men, of course. And so anyway, basically he's turned all these people into a lot of them did it willingly. And in the comics, it was a response to Onslaught, but they're kind of getting the cart before the horse here and changing it up a little bit because of the threat of mutants, and then the Genosian, the massacre on Genosha that killed countless mutants. That Bastion was behind that, and him and his super three-headed kind of sentinel, which is just beyond incredibly badass. And in the comics, there's a storyline with Cassandra Nova, who you're going to see, spoiler warning. Well, it's not spoiler because she's in the trailers, but she's going to be one of the bad guys, or the bad guy, bad person, in Deadpool versus Wolverine. So she, in the comics, unleashes this three-headed kind of master mold super sentinel that just kills millions of mutants. And so it's pretty intense in the comics. Well, they're not mentioning here in X-Men 97 in this lore, but she is she's a threat, and she is basically Charles Xavier's, like, an echo of him. And they were in the comics, it gets a little kind of crazy because they're in utero together, and in mom's belly and all that. And then Charles, I won't say kills her, but he fights her off. And so they think she's like stillborn. So then Charles is born, but it's really just it's his twin sister, but somehow she's not dead, and so she comes back, and she's like probably as powerful as Charles, and she is just relentless and just like totally evil and sadistic. It's crazy, but anyway, this is how the comics can go 5 or 10 different directions in a half second. So to stay with the storyline of X-Men 97 here, so basically, Beast and Forge are creating a collar that can block Bastion's technopathy and sever his control over the Sentinels. Because then they go to the base there and in the Galapagos Islands where he's at, and even though Magneto at this point has unleashed his electromagnetic pulse around the entire Earth and just knocked everything out. Think about your poor mom in hospice. She's gone because, somebody who's having heart surgery, boom, unless the backup generators kick in, I mean, that's, they don't show that, but that's kind of, think of all the electronics in the entire planet Earth just being wiped out in one instant. Magneto has had enough. He's been as patient as he sees fit with the humans and trying to have human and he tried Xavier's path, and the humans just still hunted the mutants and still treated them horribly. And these are all allegories for race relations and stuff like that. And even the representation that Charles Xavier or Professor X is the archetype of Martin Luther King, peaceful coexistence, peaceful resistance. And Magneto is in line with Malcolm X's point of view of by any means necessary. And so, those are kind of the archetypes when Stan Lee created the characters of Professor X and Magneto. And so, he changed things up a little bit, but that's basically to give you kind of feel for the human mutant comparison there. And, the mutants have always been the disenfranchised ones. They've been the ones that society didn't respect enough. And Magneto's, he said he's always, in this episode 9, part 2 of Tolerance is Extinction on X-Men 97, Magneto says he calls Charles a traitor to his race of mutants. And he says, he said, and he's like, Magneto, we're not gods. And Magneto says, I mean, the writing in this thing is so damn good. Man, I'd say Magneto says, Charles says, we're not Magnus or Magneto, we're not gods. And he said, gods let their believers down. He's like, mutants don't let mutants down. You are a traitor to your race of mutants. He says that to Charles. I'm like, whoa. And with all this heavy, crazy drama going on in X-Men 97, there are some really beautiful moments. And one of them, I really want to find the quote here. But there's when Storm comes back and she looks so badass. She's got her original costume from the comics, and you get to see Cyclops in his original costume, Jean Grey in her original costume, because basically all their costumes that they have, up to date X-Men costumes, everything's destroyed at the Xavier Institute. So their backup with power, Shi'ar technology, is in Muir Island, and that's where they went to get. The costumes they had there were their original ones. So it's so cool. You got to see them. You get to see Wolverine, even though my personal favorites from the 90s, the yellow costume that we'll see in Deadpool versus the Wolverine. Digital Caveman's favorite is the 80s costume, which a lot of people, that's the original brown costume that Wolverine wears. He wears it in this episode. And when we get to Fatal Attractions, which this episode ends with, you get to see how brutal things are, and we'll talk about that in just a second, so bear with me there. Let's finish the I'm hearing something. Sorry, something beeping. It's also a horn. Anyway, so we see Let's see where we said Beast and Forge create a collar that can block Bastion's technopathy and sever his control over the Sentinels. The Gold Team battles an army of Bastion-controlled Sentinels as well as Mr. Sinister, who takes control of Cable's mind and uses him to overpower Jean. She sends a desperate psychic message to Cyclops. She goes, Scott, I love you, and I think she's about to go Phoenix on us. I don't know if she's gonna wipe everybody out there or if she's gonna wipe out Cable. And Scott's got a point. He's finally got to meet his son, who's grown up as Cable and came back from the future because they had to send him off because Sinister, not Apocalypse, and like in the comics, but Mr. Sinister infected him with a techno-organic virus. And so Madeline Pryor, his mom, who's dead now, like a lot of mutants, it's just crazy. She sent him along with Bishop to the future to find a cure in Bishop's time. Bishop and baby Nathan, who grows up to be Cable, got separated somehow in the time stream. And so Cable's all grown up. He's basically kind of an older man, at least Scott's age, if not more. He's got gray hair, so I assume he's older. And he comes back, and he's come back in this time to try to prevent the Genoshan massacre that Bastion and his minions created. And it's a fixed point in time where Gambit dies, and that says that Gambit's not coming back. I feel like they're going to find a way somehow, because nobody really dies in the comics. So hopefully, but the complaint about Marvel films is nobody ever dies, even the bad guys, they always somehow come back. And so I think they're going to bring them back somehow, but we're still just shell shocked losing Gambit. And it's just, we lost Madeline Pryor. So basically you get to see Cable. And I've been a big Cable fan, mainly from X-Men, the animated series, but in the comics as well. And was it X-Force? I think he led X-Force for a while there in the 90s. Digital came in. He's got more of the chronological order of things. If he were here, he would certainly tell you about that. And we're by the way, next week we're going to have the finale Wednesday, so probably next Saturday we're going to be on here, God willing, with Digital K-Man, and we're going to be talking the season 1 finale. So make sure Wednesday after 3 a.m. Wednesday, so sometime Wednesday, get on there and watch your X-Men, get caught up and watch that episode 10, Tolerance's Extinction Part 3, and see if Onslaught shows up. That will blow my mind. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. So it's hard to contain my excitement. Anyway, so we're rolling on here. We're almost done talking about X-Men. We're going to get to Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. So if you're here for that, don't go nowhere. It's coming up. Anyway, we see Sinister fighting, and Jean is kicking butt right along with Sinister, and she kind of wipes him out a little bit. I don't know that he's gone, but she's pretty much, she fought valiantly, and they've really been showing. Oh, this is the point I missed. In case, I hope nobody's tuned out from this, but I wanted to talking about the writing in this show. There's a part where Jean and Storm they're in like the back of the X-plane, and Forge and them are going to go fight the Sentinels, and so Scott, Jean, and Cable can go down and fight another Tech and Xavier. So they're all working together in teams, and so there's a thing where they say Jean. I love seeing the sisterhood between Jean and Storm, and Jean says to Storm, she says, let them, I'm going to give me a second to get this right. Let them, may they, Jean says to Storm, may they weather your thoughts. I'm screwing it up. And then Storm says, may your thoughts weather the, I'm screwing it up. I can't get the quote. But the quote, if you watch it, you can you can tell me in the comment section if you have any comments about it. But tell me about it. That's just one of the great quotes they have in this. It's so well written. I tell you, it's so good. And anyway, so on Asteroid M, Xavier attempts to take control of Magneto's mind, but is blocked because Cyclops hits him with an optic blast. You don't see that coming. He's like, whoa, what's going on? And he's like, they need more time at Bastion. So, and his forces. So sorry, Professor. We still need Magneto. Don't do whatever you're gonna do just yet. And that gives a chance for Wolverine to attack. And it says Wolverine stabs and seriously injures Magneto, who begins ripping the adamantium metal from Wolverine's skeleton. And that, of course, was the highlight of the Fatal Attractions storyline. And I never thought I'd see it in live action. And fan-freaking-tastic. You knocked it out of the park, Bo DeMaio and your crew. I don't know what to say about these episodes, except they keep getting better. Excuse me. But I'm super excited about it, and I'm amazed how good this is, and so excellent. I do remind you, please subscribe to Geek Homeworld at youtube.com/@geekhomeworld4248. On YouTube, that's Geek Homeworld at youtube.com/@geekhomeworld4248. Please sub on there. Thumbs up the videos. It really helps. We're growing the channel. Thank you to all our new subscribers and everybody who might be listening. We want you to like, share, subscribe, ding that bell, do all that fun stuff on the podcast. It really helps. We really appreciate it. Okay. And you're watching episode 175. I forgot to say this is kind of a milestone episode. This is Geek Homeworld episode 175, live stream, Kingdom of the X-Men. I finally found a way to combine two of the things I was talking about. And as excited as I am to really break down the episode, Digital K-Man couldn't be here because of what family obligations with Mother's Day weekend. I understand that, and I respect that. And so he's like, I know you Wednesday I wanted to go on here, and Thursday, or when I watched it, I was texting him all day. I was like, dude, are you up yet? Have you seen this? Because we've been on spring break. So Monday we start back classes. So it's just going to be a hard week going back, new classes, and then the season finale of X-Men. I don't know what I'm going to do next week when there's no new X-Men. I really don't. Hopefully the movies will be kicking up and we'll be getting closer to some really good ones. So if you have any questions or any comments, please leave them here on the channel. You can hit us up on X which is formerly Twitter, @Geek Homeworld. And wherever you listen to your podcast, you'll hear this as well. And let's shift gears. We're going to talk about Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. And in the video here, I've been holding up the poster for it. I'm not good with my camera work here. And this is actually, I didn't go to the early access screening May 8th. We went May 9th, but that's okay. I got a poster from my local Regal, and so I'm super happy about that. So we're going to read the synopsis for Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. This is all spoilers, so if you've not seen the film, I highly recommend you go to a theater and see it. Anyway, so here's a synopsis for Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. And it says it is directed by Wes Ball and written by Josh Friedman. The standalone sequel to War for the Planet of the Apes 2017. It is the fourth installment in the Planet of the Apes reboot franchise. Oh, by the way, I'm getting this from Wikipedia, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. So let's see. So it stars, it's based on characters by Rick Jaffa, Amanda Silver. The premise from The Planet of the Apes by Pierre Boulez. And produced by Wes Ball, Joe Hartwick Jr., Rick Jaffa, Amanda Silver, Jason T. Reed. It stars Owen Teague, Freya Allen, Kevin Durand, Peter Macon, and William H. Macy. Guy Eula Pados is a cinematographer. Dan Zimmerman edited music. John Pisano. By the way, love the sound work on this film, the sound design, fan freaking tastic. And I'm gonna include some. I think I have them on text here. I was talking with my friend Scott Schreiber. Scott's usually on the podcast here. He's been very busy at work, so he's not been able to be a part of things, but recently. But we wish him all the best, and happy Mother's Day to your family there, and to all the families out there, all the mothers out there. And as I said earlier, as Samuel L. Jackson would say, Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. I love Sam. He's awesome. Anyway, so, but I'm going to read you maybe some text of what Scott said. I'm sure he won't mind. About Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. And also my thoughts and some of the things that I've said. But anyway, so the plot is many generation. Okay, this is spoilers, so spoilers. Many generations after Caesar's death, because we had Caesar, he was played by he does oh gosh, help me out here. Played Smeagol. Oh my gosh. Oh gosh, what's his name? He plays Caesar in the trilogy, the Dawn, Rise, Dawn, and War of the Planet of the Apes. That trilogy, which is very solid trilogy of the newer Planet of the Apes films. I can't think of the actor. He did the motion capture of Caesar. He is not in this film. This film starts off with his funeral. And so we go many generations after his death. And I can't think of his name. Any other time I think of his name. But he played Lord of the Rings Smeagol. You know, does the motion captures. Well known for it. Anyway, the plot is many generations after Caesar's death, the apes have established numerous clans, while humans have become feral. Noah, a chimpanzee of the falconry ape clan, they have these big falcons that are very important to the story here, and it's led by his father Koro. They prepares for a coming of age ceremony by collecting eagle eggs with his friends Anaya and Suna, which that after Caesar's funeral, then you get into that, what I call the opening sequence. The opening sequence is Caesar's funeral, but the next thing with them trying to get these eggs, the CGI is so incredible in this film. It flows so well. There's a few spots that my wife, who watched it with me, Cheryl, she said that she could see where it looks CGI. There's a part where one of the emperor of the apes, or whatever, the king of the apes, the Caesar, I think his name is Proxima, where he's kind of climbing up inside of this hollowed out ship that kind of made the apes have kind of made their base of operations. And she said it does look a little fake, maybe, or you could see some of that looks like CGI, but mostly I was so enthralled with the story and it kept my attention. Is it a little bit long? Yeah, the film does feel like it's weighted down in the middle, like a lot of films do. But I got back into it, and it was just a great film. It was really great. And so, anyway, we see it says, however, a human scavenger follows Noah home and inadvertently cracks his egg during a scuffle before fleeing. While searching for a replacement egg, Noah encounters a raider tribe of warlike apes. As he hides from them, the apes follow Noah's horse to track down his clan. Upon returning home, Noah finds his village burning, with the raider leader Silva killing Koro before knocking Noah unconscious. Noah awakens, discovering his family and clan have been abducted. He buries his father and sets out to rescue his clan. On his journey, he is joined by an orangutan named Raka, who's awesome. He's like an old sage. They find him in, I think, the LA. I think it's like LAX airport. That's kind of overgrown at this time, and he tells Noah about Caesar's teachings. The two apes notice they are being followed by a human scavenger from earlier. Raka offers her food and a blanket, naming her Nova. When the trio encounters a group of feral humans, Silva's raiders suddenly attack them. Noah and Reka rescue Nova, who, to their surprise, can speak. She reveals that her real name is May, and that the raiders took his clan to a beachfront settlement located outside an old human vault. While on their way to the settlement, they are ambushed by Silva while attempting to cross a bridge. In the ensuing fight, Raka saves May from drowning, but Silva severs the rope he was holding onto, and the river carries him off. Noah, which is sad to see Raka go like that. I was like, no. There, Noah reunites with his clan and is introduced to the self-proclaimed ape king, Proximus Caesar. That's who I was referring to earlier. Proximus has enslaved Noah's clan, using their labor to attempt to open the vault and access the human technology locked inside, which includes like army tanks and stuff like that. And I'll tell you more about technology does show up later in this film, which I was wondering at this place and time, basically the fourth film into this series, if we were going to see some like human technology, and we definitely get that. And where it goes is going to be very interesting. But anyway, let's see. So Proximus invites Noah to dinner along with May and Trevathan, a human who has allied himself with the apes. I believe that's William H. Macy. And he's basically sided with the apes to kind of save his own butt and basically sell out the human race. And and anyway, so Proximus invites Noah to dinner along with May and Trevathan, a human who has allied himself with the apes, teaching Proximus about the old human world. Proximus believes that Noah knows how to open the vault and warns him that May only has her interest in mind. Has her own interest in mind. Noah confronts May, demanding the truth in exchange for his help. May discloses knowledge of a hidden vault containing a mysterious book capable of restoring speech to humanity. It's like a satellite kind of disc thing, and then she gets it over to the human settlement towards the end of the film, and then they're able to speak electronically to realign the satellite dishes, which I'm surprised they actually still worked. And they're able to communicate around the world in different pockets, or at least in the U.S. Excuse me. Let's see. No, agree. Okay. Let's see. Noah agrees to help her gain access to the vault, hoping to destroy Proximus's settlement and lead his clan back to home. Noah, May, Suna, and Anaya secretly plant explosive around the sea levee that surrounds the vault and settlement. It's an old hollowed out like oil tanker or ship or whatever. Okay. Trevathan interrupts and plans to warn Proximus, but May kills him. As the group enters the secret entrance, the vault is revealed to be a military bunker housing a stockpile of weapons, which are army tanks and other things like that, and machine guns and everything. And May's book being a deciphering key. Her book is that deciphering key for a satellite. So it's like a satellite thing. Feels like I'm watching GoldenEye in a way. Meanwhile, the apes discover old picture books depicting humans as the once dominant species. Basically, they are Curious George books and all that, ABC that teach ABCs and stuff like that. And these books are depicting humans as the once dominant species and apes in cages at the zoo, leading them to grow suspicious of May. As they make their way out of the bunker, the group is confronted by Proximus and his tribe, who threatens to kill Suna, but is stopped when May uses a gun to shoot the ape holding Suna. She has like a pistol that she took from the vault there. Proximus agrees to release Noah if she tells them where the other weapons are. May refuses and triggers the explosives, flooding the bunker while the apes are still inside. As the apes climb to higher ground, Noah is pursued by Silva. Eventually, Noah traps Silva, causing him to drown. When Noah and his clan escape the bunker, he is attacked by Proximus. Proximus demands that Noah kneel before him. And they're on a cliffside outside of the the vault, and it reminds me of Black Panther when they're on the rock and T'Challa and Killmonger are kind of facing him. Somehow, I don't know why it reminds me of that. Um, Eventually, Noah traps Silva, causing him to drown. When Noah and his clan escape the bunker, he is attacked by Proximus. Proximus demands that Noah kneel before him, but Noah leads his clan in summoning their eagles, which reminds me of Lord of the Rings, Return of the King, when the eagles come and save everybody. Not taking away from him, just saying it reminds me of that. Noah leads his clan in summoning their eagles to attack Proximus, resulting in him falling off the cliff. As Noah's clan returns to rebuild their home, May bids farewell to Noah. She explains that humans deserve another chance since they were once the dominant species, but Noah questions if apes and humans can coexist peacefully. And this is one of the most beautiful exchanges between Noah and May, where they're discussing, he's like, do we go back as apes to being in cages and being subservient to humans? But she can't be like Trevathan, what was his name, and turn her back on humanity. So she goes, and but Noah questions if apes and humans can coexist peacefully. Sounds a bit like Xavier and Magneto. See how these are kind of related. They're trying to. It's a race of humans or humanoids that are trying to coexist with another race, and like we should. And May travels, it says, to a human settlement at a satellite base, delivering the decipher key to enable humans to reactivate the satellites and successfully contact other humans worldwide. Okay, so it's worldwide, meaning Noah and Suna. Meanwhile, Noah and Suna look through a telescope at the overgrown, hollowed out Griffith Observatory there in LA. They look through a telescope at something in the sky, and maybe they'll see the satellites. But I feel like in the next one, we're going to see a jump in technology because Noah said that apes will learn to, because they're still speaking kind of broken English, and you would think that the apes were kind of evolved at this point. But I think it's going to lead to, spoiler warning, I think it's going to lead to seeing a technological advancement by the apes. And so just this movie blew me away. Love it, love it, love it, love it. Got to see it again. We'll see it again. You need to all go out there and see it. So fantastic. I mean, so in this 1 week, I've seen a great X-Men episode, another great one, once again, thankfully, and Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. I'm super excited about both of them. I highly recommend both. Check them out as soon as you can. Anybody that's joined us here, if you've got any questions or comments, please, leave them here. And if you're in the live stream, I see a couple of people popping in and out. So welcome. Thank you, everybody who's listening to portions of this or all of this. And if you're here, please sub the channel if you haven't. And you can enable notifications for like new content. Please do a thumbs up to the video if you're here. A thumbs up really helps the algorithm. We hate algorithms here, but it's the games we play, right? So I'd love to know what your thoughts are if you've seen Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes or if you're planning to see it. I no doubt will see. Let's see if we're able to actually pull it up. see what the box office is, because we like to talk about box office here. So I'm just going to punch up Box Office Mojo real quick. Maybe I can share my screen. I'm not sure. We do not. Okay, the latest. Oh, we don't have anything. That's a shame. They don't have anything for that postage yet. So tomorrow is Sunday, May 12th. So we'll definitely have all the box office numbers that come out then. And so in the next episode, we'll certainly be talking about it. No doubt it should be #1 film, and I hope it does. I hope it exceeds expectations, because I want to see this trilogy fulfilled. We're working. I mean, the first 3 films in this with Caesar, that follow Caesar, and then this one that's following, I guess, Noah, generations later. I tell you, so far they're fantastic, and I just love to see where we're going with things. It's just very exciting. So really just high quality entertainment here, and you need to check it out. What else? There's not much else to talk about. I mean, I pretty much, I think, covered them in depth. I will tell you, well, I'll break down a few things that I really enjoyed. Oh, I promised you this. I promised that I would read some comments here from my friend Scott, because he just recently saw it. Let's see. Hold on here. I am getting to. I said, coming out of the theater, I had texted him and said, Apes, the best film of the year, with Dune 2 so far. Dune 2 was a masterpiece. Yes, and so far, well written, great action. He said, glad you liked it. I said, you will as well. It is a few generations after Caesar. And let me fast forward here. Bear with me. This is out of the theater reactions from my friend Scott. He said, we liked Apes. Maybe a little too long. I agree there. In the middle, it gets a little drawn out. They could have kind of, edited it down a little bit, but it still doesn't take away from how great the film was. He said, maybe a little too long, but I thought it was a solid jumping point for a new trilogy. I agree. The visual effects were stunning. Yes, sir, you are correct. The CGI, the visual effects, fantastic in this film. So awesome. Yes, Cheryl had pointed out, yeah, there are a few things, few scenes where she thought some of the CGI could have been done a little bit better, that didn't flow as well. Yeah, but it doesn't take it away from the overall. I mean, that scene where they're trying to get the egg toward the beginning after Caesar's funeral is pretty amazing. It's just the flow of it, and he said, I still can't believe most of that was digital. You're right, Scott. I can't believe it either. They really did a very good job on this film. And I wish I had some of the early projections and at least Friday numbers, but we don't have those yet for how it did. I hope it does very well, because I do want this trilogy to continue, and maybe we'll get 9 movies out of it, and we'll get a solid, whatever you call 9 movies. I don't know. And I said, I know it was one of the best. This is what I responded to Scott. I said tonight, I said, it was one of the best screenplays this year for me. It's better than I thought it would be, and the visual effects were awesome. And I thought he had responded to something else, but I guess he didn't to that. But I think he agreed on the screenplay somewhat. So, bear with me here. So, just a few more things I wanted to touch on. Thank you for all of the support, everybody who's been checking out the videos here. I dropped a couple. I dropped one last week, I think. I love playing Command and Conquer Generals 0 Hour, the expansion pack. It's from like 2003. I know it's an old school game, but I just always have loved that. And it's like a game if there's a game I always seem to play on any PC I have, it's that one. And so, or laptop, whatever you want to call it. So I've been doing a little bit editing, and I put together some 30-minute Geek Homeworld gaming. It'll be under that banner. It's on our Geek Homeworld YouTube channel, but you can go to the Geek Homeworld YouTube page, and you'll find under the tab or a playlist that says Geek Homeworld Gaming. You'll see these playthrough games, and if you have um, your notifications enabled, if you check like all of them or whatever, it will every time we upload something to the site, you'll be notified immediately, so you won't miss any of these. But we have gotten, and I need to let me pop in another my YouTube Studio app here, and I can give you some stats. We in the first 1 day and 23 hours, we did a playthrough, and we've had 20 views on that, which is incredible. That was one from the other day. Now the first one we did 5 days ago, and as a recording of this on May 11th of 2024, we've had 109 views on Geek Homeworld YouTube channel, Geek Homeworld Gaming, under that playlist, and it was a USA versus China, and I think I was the Laser General versus the China's Infantry General, and it's a quick like 30-minute playthrough. So I'm trying to keep these to like 30 minutes because that's usually how long it takes me to kick butt on these games, and I think that might have been on a hard difficulty. Now the other one that I did 1 day and about 23 hours ago, it's had 20 downloads, and another version of it's had 7 downloads. As of the recording of this, was I was the Laser General, not the Laser General. I was the it's a beam you shoot from the sky. I forgot what it's called. My mind's going blank, but I might be. I was going to try to share it here. I don't know if I can pull up. Let me see if I can present slides, video files, share screen. Okay, maybe I can pull up. Bear with me here if you're in the YouTube channel. I'm going to try to pull up the YouTube here. I'm going to try to. It's probably going to get. Might get some feedback here because I'm going to go to my channel here. Let's see. View your channel. So you're about to hear my promo here. So let me see if I can silence that. Maybe it won't do that. Hopefully it's not doing that because we're live. So we go on the thing here. Let me share my screen if I can. All right, let's share our screen. Bear with me here. We're doing this live, so this is the live stream. So anything can go wrong. It probably will. All right, so StreamYard. Let me go here. I want to present. Share screen. All right, share screen works easiest with 2 monitors. Okay, that's nice. All right, trying to share screen. Let's share this tab right here. If it lets me, okay, share. All right, so you should be, if all things are equal, yeah, there you go. It's on the screen here. So you should be able, this is what the YouTube channel looks like. So we've got this game that has 9 views here. This is Command & Conquer, Geek Homeworld Gaming, Command & Conquer Generals 0 Hour, USA versus China on media. It's a medium army. You can see right there. This particular one, this video that has 9 views is the same as, I had a bit of an upload issue, and so I did a different thing on it, but these essentially are the same video. And since they're up there and people are watching different versions of it, they're up there. But this was the first one that I uploaded that I didn't think would make it on there, but it did. And this is the USA versus China medium army, and this particular one's called Victory Day, the same as this video. This one has about 23 views. This one has 9. And okay, this had the same name. That did come through as Victory. This one was Victory. Okay, so anyway, this is the other one that has 108 views. The one I did 100 did 5 days ago. It's Command & Conquer General 0 Hour Skirmish. These are both skirmishes, by the way. This one is from May 6, 2024, and I believe this one is me as the dang it, what is it? The late this one's the Air Force General from a day ago. The one from 5 days ago was the just the USA, I think, just regular USA. It might have been the same Laser General, But anyway, they're on there, and they're under, when you go to the main channel, here's, you want to make sure that you, I don't know if I'm seeing it, the view that you see, but let's see. That's our live stream right now. So you're seeing behind the curtains here. It's us being live. We got some shorts on there. We got some creative playlists, some other shorts here, different things to watch. A lot of our past live streams you'll see here listed on the page. So if you want to check that out, some of our most popular videos. This is my 3-year-old. Welcome to the Geek Homeworld podcast. I need to film a new one and get it up there, so I'll get that changed out. If you see any of these that have the static or old logo, Geek Homeworld, those are going to be, some of these are like audio episodes. They're not necessarily true YouTube videos, because for a while I had the YouTube channel that wasn't really developing the YouTube channel, so I kind of put those up there because some people, if you're like me, you're doing chores and stuff around the house, you can't watch a video, but you'd like to listen to it. And let's say you could always, of course, go in your favorite podcast app or whatever and stream it. The audio versions of these, whatever we do on the channel, is generally, other than the gameplays, are in podcast form. So they're wherever you get your audio podcast. But if you just, a lot of people are on YouTube all the time. So you could, if you don't want to watch the video per se, you just want to listen, you can always see these ones. And here's our newer logo. So you'll see some of those that are actually just audio versions. But I do have playlists on here. This is, let's see, this is, I guess, what the channel looks like. You're seeing some of these. If you go to playlist, you will see some of these are private. This and that. But anyway, if you go there, our main website's geekhomeworld.libsyn.com. If you ever want to go to the website, okay, and that's a broken link. It was working, so I have to check that out. But anyway, so let's stop sharing that. Boom. Okay, thank you. Have a nice day there. Back to StreamYard. Okay. So sorry, just sharing some screens there. But anyway, bottom line is, thank you for checking out the gaming videos. I'm going to try to keep those. I'm going to try to do one a week if I can, if I'm in the mood for it, because I'm always playing when I'm not doing my homework. I'm probably playing some Command & Conquer's General's 0 Hour gameplay there. So, I was an avid gamer for a while, so was a Digital Caveman. He's kind of pivoted away from that with his Digital Caveman Presents channel, where he does. He told me it's not unboxings. He has action figures, and he's going to correct me for this. Forgive me. He's probably screaming. If he's watching there, he's screaming at the monitor and telling me it's not unboxings. I don't technically do an unboxing, but it's Digital Caveman Presents, and that's Caveman with 2 N's. Digital Caveman Presents, and he does unboxing videos of Transformers, Star Wars, Star Trek, G.I. Joe, whatever. He does a lot of those, and he's getting quite successful on his channel. You ought to go and sub his channel, check out some of his stuff. He's also on Instagram as well, like we are. So check him out. And usually Digital Caveman's here, but he's unable to, obviously, with the holiday weekend. So anyway, I'm thinking of wrapping things up. If anybody's out there, if you want to leave comments, please do. If you don't, if you're just lurking, I don't mean to say lurking like it's a bad thing, but if you're just there watching and listening, we thank you for watching and listening, and this and that. So I'm going to roll out, but bottom line, you want to check out X-Men on Disney Plus, X-Men 97. It's fantastic. You don't have to have watched the original series, but it does help to have seen those episodes, but you don't have to follow. You could follow along where we're going. If you've read the comics, you know where we're going. And I don't feel like pulling on my comic stand. I was going to pull all my X-Men comics here down and show you some of the Onslaught and the Age of Apocalypse. I hope we're heading to the Age of Apocalypse after Onslaught. I don't know if we're going to get there in season 2 or what, but I can't imagine where we're going. But kudos to all the stuff they've done with X-Men 97. And anyway, so I'm going to start babbling on here, and I don't want to do that and Time is valuable. But thank y'all for being here. Thank you for being part of Geek Homeworld. We're going to work on the swag one day. We're going to get some swag out there, and then you can purchase your own shirts, and you can tell all your friends. You can still do that now about the Geek Homeworld podcast. And I've been trying to be on here Saturday nights and live stream like this. And so I love doing things that are a challenge. I love when it's, things could just fall apart at any second. And sometimes that's what a live stream is like. So this is totally unrehearsed. And if you know me, I usually Digital Caveman's here, or my friend Scott, and they kind of keep you on track. I usually have a bit of an outline, which I had one last week. I tried really hard. I don't know if you can see that. Oh, can't see that. There was my outline last week. This one was for the seat of my pants. And so anyway, I'll shut up and I'll go away. Thank y'all for being here. I've got some exciting things planned. We're heading to our 10th anniversary, which will be in September. It's May, so hold on. June, July, August, September. Less than 4 months away from our 10-year anniversary here on the podcast. And there are other things on the Geek Homeworld channel, exploring with us, which some people have asked me about that Cheryl and I did. We were going to come back in January with it, but we both have such busy schedules, and I'm back in college, and so if I'm not working, I'm doing stuff around the house or whatever, and so we've got about maybe 6 episodes up here. You'll find them on the Geek Homeworld channel. You also find them in that wherever you get your podcast, Geek Homeworld, you'll have those extra episodes in there. And we just kind of put Exploring with Us on a hiatus. It may come back in some shape or form later, but right now it's still kind of on a hold. When Cheryl had her knee surgery, she was recovering from, and still recovering from that, but much better than she was. So we just weren't able to really go exploring anywhere. So we have a little bit, but just nothing that we could do to really put a show together. So we'll see where that comes. It's kind of on a hiatus. I did have a friend, I say a film friend, because I have a lot of friends in the film industry, reached out to me. It was really nice on my Facebook page, and I gave him his first interview as an actor on Savannah on Film. And if you're interested, Savannah on Film it's on hiatus as well, since we moved to Augusta here. I hadn't figured out what I'm doing with Savannah on Film. So, we still own all that Savannah on Film stuff. It's still us. If you see Savannah on Film, it's us. But it's out there, so you can sub the channel there. We're on Facebook, both places, but the YouTube channels are still there if you want to see some of our content. So you're welcome to check it out. Anyway, I got to run. I know your time is valuable. Thank you all for spending part of your Saturday night with us here on the Geek Homeworld. And I wish you and yours a happy Mother's Day. And as Samuel L. Jackson would say, happy Mother's Day to all of you. And thank you for being part of our 175th episode of Geek Homeworld. That's amazing. We probably should have been a lot longer in 4 years or 10 years, but quality is better than quantity. So we're working on quality here. It's been a long road, and we're still got a long way to go. So thank you for joining us for episode 175, live stream, Kingdom of the X-Men. And I will now roll the what do you call it? I'm going to roll the outro here. So thank y'all for listening, and bye. I'm your host, Ed Susevich, and thank you for being part of the Geek Homeworld. Bye. Welcome to the Geek Homeworld podcast. I'm your host, Ed, aka the Savage Tech Man. We talk film, TV, and tech, all from a geek perspective. You can find us on X, Instagram, Facebook, and you can subscribe and follow on YouTube at Geek Homeworld. Don't forget to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Be a part of the Geek Homeworld.